Folks, and welcome to the Sci-Fi Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen, and this week we have a very special episode for you folks, and we're doing the top 10 greatest superhero movies of all time. And we're going to start with some honorable mentions. So let's get started with no further ado. Some of you folks are going to find this controversial, and that is The Watchmen, directed by Zack Snyder. I just love the visuals in this movie. It's absolutely visually stunning. It's so epic in scope. And I love the performances by Jack Earl Haley as Horshack and Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the comedian. Highly underrated movie, and I think it's very faithful to the source material. Next up is Spider-Man 2. A film that a lot of people consider to be the greatest superhero movie of all time, and it's hard to argue. I think it's a great superhero movie, and it's excellent performance by Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker. And I love the romance between him and Mary Jane Watson, and also the conflict within James Franco as Harry Osborn. And of course, Doc Ock, played by Alfred Molina. Next up is Avengers: The Age of Ultron. I still love this movie, even though it is flawed in a lot of ways. Especially the villain Ultron is very underwhelming. It's kind of sad to see that you had James Spader, such a great actor, but the problem is, I think, that it's a CGI character, and how much can you believe a CGI character? How intimidating can a CGI character be? And that's the problem with Age of Ultron. But what I do love about it is it does have a lot of great action, and I love the introductions to the Scarlet Witch, and the character of Vision is incredible. And once again, great. I love the romance between the Black Widow and the Hulk. Next up, we have Thor. The Mighty Thor, his first appearance as played by Chris Hemsworth. And can you imagine anyone else at this point playing the Mighty Thor? The guy just nails it. He gets the character right in every way. And I love the visuals in this film. It's got great special effects, especially when you see him on Asgard. He's fighting frost giants, and you get to see Loki in all his glory. The introduction of the greatest Marvel cinematic villain, and that is Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston. Next up, we have Batman Begins. That's right, the first entry in the Christopher Nolan trilogy. What a great return to prominence for the character of Batman. He's played so well by Christian Bale, and he's just got an amazing cast. You got Morgan Freeman, and you got Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul. Batman Begins, folks. Now, here we go. We're getting to the top 10 superhero movies of all time. In at number 10, it's X2, X-Men United. What an excellent entry into the franchise. X-Men, the original, kicked it off in fine fashion, but this one just took it to a whole new level. Amazing action, amazing performances, and I love the new characters, Nightcrawler, Lady Deathstrike, and of course you get an excellent performance again by Hugh Jackman, who really lets it rip this time as Wolverine. Awesome movie. Next up, I'm going old school, baby, and that is Superman from 1979, starring the legendary Christopher Reeve, who I still feel is the best portrayal of the character of Superman, as well as Clark Kent. And that's what I love about it, is the way he plays Clark Kent and Superman. There's such a great distinction between the two. In Clark, you get this really goofy, nerdy, dweeb character. He's really clumsy and awkward. And you're like, how can he possibly be Superman? You don't make that connection. And that's because of the way Christopher Lee plays him. And I think he plays him even better than a comic book. Next up is Spider-Man from 2002. The first entry in the Sam Raimi trilogy. That's right, another trilogy on the list. I really love this movie still. I still think it holds up well to this day. It's still got great visual effects, and I really like Tobey Maguire's portrayal as Spider-Man. And Peter Parker does a great job. And I love the romance between him and Mary Jane Watson. And I absolutely love William Dafoe as the Green Goblin, my favorite villain in comic book history, and I think they really did him justice here. They could have done better with the Green Goblin's outfit, but as far as the portrayal by Willem Dafoe, he nails it. Next up, I just picked up this bad boy, but it's one of the greatest superhero movies of all time, and that is Deadpool. The Merc with a Mouth, played so incredibly well by Ryan Reynolds. Um, Nobody could possibly play this character better at this point. I mean, Ryan Reynolds just absolutely nails it. And this movie is absolutely hilarious. It's definitely the funniest superhero movie ever made. That's for sure. Nothing could even come close. It's hilarious from start to finish. I love the breaking the fourth wall and the quips and the witty banter. Um, it's got great over the top cinematic violence, and that's why it has an R rating. Next up, the great Captain America the Winter Soldier. Wow, what an awesome movie this is. Um, it started off great on the franchise with the first Avenger, but it actually killed it in the Winter Soldier. I love the performances by Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier. And talk about amazing action scenes with awesome hand-to-hand combat. A lot of the movies like the X-Men franchise, you see all of them flying around, and it's obvious that they're using wire technique. But here it's just brutal hand-to-hand combat. And I love that they made it a spy thriller when you got Robert Redford, and you get excellent performances once again by Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. Again, when are they going to give Black Widow her own movie? Next up, we have X-Men Days of Future Past, which I feel is the best entry in the X-Men franchise. The great Bryan Singer returns to take hold of his baby, and that is the X-Men franchise. Here we get Jennifer Lawrence debuting as Mystique, and I love Michael Fassbender as the young Magneto. But what's great about this movie is that it brings together the original cast with the young cast of X-Men First Class. And he does it in such a great way with the time travel storyline. And of course, Hugh Jackman kills it once again as Wolverine. Next up, we have the one that started it all for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is Iron Man. What an awesome performance by Robert Downey Jr. as he rises to relative obscurity to star as Tony Stark. Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. And he fits the role so well because I think the character of Tony Stark actually mirrors his own life in some ways. That's what makes Robert Downey such a great pick for Tony Stark. But what a great movie and what a great origin story. Awesome performances by Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts and Jeff Bridges as Obadiah Stane. Great villain, I think. Next up, how can you not include it? And that is Marvel's The Avengers. The first time you get to see an amazing superhero team up on screen. And they get it done right. And every character gets a chance to shine. And that's one thing you wonder, how are they going to bring all these great characters together and make it believable on screen? But they certainly do. And of course you get Tom Hiddleston as Loki, the best villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he absolutely kills it in this one. Marvel's The Avengers at number 3. Next up we have The Dark Knight. The second entry in the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy is absolutely, without a doubt, the best. And you get the absolutely best villain ever in the history of superhero movies. Maybe the best villain in the history of cinema. And that is Heath Ledger as the Joker. An absolutely brilliant portrayal in which he won an Oscar. And also Christian Bale returns as Batman and does a great job once again. And it's just an incredible supporting cast. Let's not forget Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face. And also you have Maggie Gyllenhaal, Morgan Freeman. What a great cast. And I love the dark tone of it, and I love the storytelling. It's so epic, and it's amazing. Dark Knight, folks, in at number 2. Now, in at number 1, it's the movie that just came out, but guess what? It's my favorite superhero movie ever. And that is Captain America Civil War. Oh, yes. Amazing movie. I absolutely was blown out of my seat. Here's a couple little things here. A nice little cup from the movie theater, as well as a popcorn box. Check it out. Yeah, I don't have the DVD yet, obviously. But check that out. Oh, what an amazing movie. The Russo brothers do it again. They come back from the Winter Soldier to direct Captain America Civil War. And this time we get pretty much all the Avengers in a Captain America movie. All except the Hulk and Thor, but you don't even miss them, to be honest. And you also get 2 new characters. You get Black Panther. What a great introduction, huh? As soon as you see him with the claws and he's standing up like this, you're like, oh my god. Because the suit looks incredible, and oh, they really get this character done right away. And now a character that didn't exactly get as much justice in the Marvel world, and that is Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland. And in 20 minutes, you get to see what they couldn't get right in 5 movies. And that is the actual character of Spider-Man himself when he's in the uniform, doing his wisecracks, doing his witty banter, doing his thing. And that is Spider-Man so well done and done right. The way that they just couldn't do it in 5 films. But absolutely everybody in this movie is top notch. Robert Downey gives his best performance as Iron Man. Chris Evans gives his best performance as Captain America. Everyone in it kills it, and the great storytelling. You really believe the tension within the group. Um, it's so well told. It's so well paced, and the action is absolutely off the hook amazing. Some of the best action I've ever seen in a movie. Much less a superhero movie, but you guys gotta run and go see Civil War right now. See it 5 times. I don't care, but you have to see this movie, Captain America: Civil War, number 1 in the top 10 superhero movies of all time. Thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Sci-Fi Corner. Tune in and blast off.